back to my channel. Today I'm really excited to share books about something that I think we all have in common, that I think we all really enjoy. Coming up in April 3rd through 9th of this year is National Library Week. And I don't know about you, but I definitely love the library. A little bit of a confession, most of the books that I share with you, I get from the library. I am there 2 to 3 times a week, and they know me by name there and see me coming, and they have a stack of books always ready for me. Buying books for your classroom can get really expensive. So I always recommend getting books from the library first, and if it's a book you truly fall in love with and really want for your classroom, then definitely go out and get it. I also have another video, which I'll link right here, about how you can get books for much cheaper for your classroom, so check that out too. But getting back to what we were saying is National Library Week is coming up in April. This is a time to celebrate libraries, librarians, and to promote the use of libraries. I know for a while, especially with technology, people weren't going to the library quite as often. I'm starting to see a little bit of a pickup around my area. I don't know what it's like in your communities, but more people are going to the library and using it for so many things. I think oftentimes we forget that the library is more than just a place to get books. It's a place to meet others in your community. They have arts and crafts, they have activities, they have story time. There's so much stuff that you can do at the library, and librarians are amazingly wonderful people. They have such a wealth of knowledge and can help you with so many things. So that's just my little PSA for you to visit your local library and to thank your librarian, especially during National Library Week. So I've pulled together a whole bunch of books all about libraries and librarians. So let's go check those out. The first book that I have, I know I own, but can't seem to put my hands on it. This one is called Library Lion. This is a storybook tribute to such a wonderful place. In this story, Miss Merriweather is a pretty strict librarian, and she makes sure that everyone follows the rules in the library. But then one day, a lion walks into the library, and, well, there's not a rule about lions in the library, so no one really knows what to do. But they soon discover that a lion is quite welcome in the library. His big paws are soft and quiet on the floor. He makes a comfy backrest as you're trying to read a book, and he never roars. So he's welcome in the library, and he's welcome to stay because he's following all the rules. But then one day something terrible happens, and the lion comes to the rescue. But in order to do this, he breaks one of the major rules of the library. So he lets himself out to never return. You'll have to read this book with your students to find out how the story ends and whether the lion actually does come back to the library or not. A great book to read with your students for National Libraries Week. This next book that I have shared quite a few times before in my videos. This one is called Planting Stories, The Life of Librarian and Storyteller Pura Belpre. And this is the biography of New York City's first Puerto Rican librarian, and what an amazing impact she has on the community as a librarian. And if you want to know more about this book, I shared it in my April Read Alouds book, and I'll leave that linked right here as well as in the description box down below. But another great story about librarians to share with your class. Another sweet story that I have about libraries is Library Mouse, A Friend's Tale. And this book I realized is part of a whole series. I have not read the other books in the series, but I would hope that they are just as good as this one. In this story, Sam is a library mouse. He lives in the library, but he's very shy and he doesn't want anyone to know that he lives there. But Sam loves to write books. So he writes these little books and he loves to share them with the children that come to the library. So he puts them on the shelf for everyone to read, but nobody knows who this author Sam is. It's a mystery. And one day the librarian assigned students to work on a book together, and Tom is the only one without a partner, but he finds Sam's secret hole. Will he and Sam be able to work together on this assignment, or will Sam's identity be revealed and ruined forever? You'll have to read this book with your students to find out how Sam and Tom's book turns out and whether Sam reveals his identity or it stays a secret. A sweet story to share with your class for National Library Week. These next two books I'm going to share together because they have the same title. One is a nonfiction book and one is a fiction book. They are both called Check It Out. Each of these books is a little bit older and they're a little dated, but I think it would be interesting to share with your students about what libraries used to look like, what they look like now, and how they are similar, and what ways are they different. This first one, Check It Out by Gail Gibbons, really dives into the different ways that libraries and librarians can help us. We can go to the library to find a great book to read, to look at maps or globes, to find information and do research. We can go to the library for story time. We can go there to do craft projects. There are so many ways, so many reasons to visit the library, and she really talks about each one of them in this book. And in a similar way, Check It Out by Patricia Hubble, again, talks about, in kind of simpler terms and in more of a story format, the different ways that a library can help us. Again, checking out books, meeting friends, doing activities, doing projects together, using the computers to do research, picking out DVDs or movies to watch. Two great books that talk about how we can use the library to help us and what great services they have to offer. So I really love this next book, and I actually had never heard of it until I was starting to do some research for this video. This one is called The Library by Sara Stewart, and I think I really like this one because I connected to the main character in a way. Elizabeth, growing up as a child, she didn't like skating or playing with dolls. She loved to read books. And as she grew older and became an adult, that love for books and for reading just grew and grew and grew until it kind of grew out of control. She loves books so much that her house is filled to the brim with them. Her shelves are collapsing. You can't even find the front door because there are so many books. Then she comes up with the perfect solution. She donates not only her books, but her whole house to the community to use as a free public library. She ends up moving in with a friend, and her home becomes a library for the whole community to use. And even she goes to visit it time and again. This lyrical book is a fun one, and all of your book lovers will connect to it and will probably see themselves in the pages of this book as well. The next book that I have for National Library Week is Biblioburro. In the story, Luis Soriano is a Colombian school teacher and an avid reader. And he makes it his mission to share books and his love of reading with children in remote villages. So he starts a Biblioburro program, which becomes a traveling library with his 2 donkeys. And he travels all around sharing books with kids and reading to them and really engaging them in books and stories. This is a marvelous book to promote not only reading, but that need for books in those rural areas. And I think your students will enjoy reading about this wonderful man who has brought reading to life for his entire community. So those are just some of the wonderful books about libraries and librarians that you can read with your class during National Library Week in April or any time of the year. A great way to engage your students in what the library is, what it can provide for us, and how amazingly wonderful librarians can be. If this video was helpful for you, make sure you give it a thumbs up, hit that red subscribe button down below, because I'll be back next Sunday night with more read aloud tips and book ideas for you to share in your classroom right away. Have a great week.